שנה, שיהיה רוגע בעולם. שיהיה רוגע.
תגיד, איך יהיה שלום? איך יהיה שלום? אין שלום. זה יהיה שלום.
David, careful. Benji, move. David, come here. David.
That guy was paranoid. He's got Jerusalem syndrome.
כן. מצלם גם כאן קשור.
הלאה לוי. Does everybody have Jerusalem syndrome? That's what I want to know.
You got it. This is the headquarters of Jerusalem syndrome, just here.
סליחה, סמח לי. כול סנה מתעסק.
סליחה.
רוני, בוקר טוב. קשה להגיע.
There's a lot of people with Jerusalem syndrome.
לכאורה, הימים האלה לפני ראש השנה הם הכי עסוקים, גם בשביל בעלי הדוכן, מה שאנחנו קוראים בערבית דוכנג'י, ולבין הקונים הירושלמיים. כאן, אין שנה טובה בראש השנה הזו.
כן?
The war.
למה?
The war.
The wall.
David, you can't imagine how much I identify with the calendar and the news as a silence.
You like silence?
No. I like the muses, and the muses cannot flourish when there's a war. That's what when the calendar.
Wow, everybody's right. Why?
הירושלמי. אם אתם מכירים את זה כל מיני שיפודים ועניינים, כל הרחוב הזה הוא מלא
שיפודים?
יפה, שיפודים. והשיפודים קוראים להם
What is שיפודים in English?
I've got no idea. Barbecue.
Barbecue. It's a vegetarian paradise.
Everything is geared here for New Year. Everything in all the shops and all the stores, and there are no people.
It's empty. Terra Lanus.
That really means that people quite simply haven't got the money to do their New Year shopping.
The money or the...
Money. Everyone's out of pocket.
But the tourists aren't coming here. That's the problem.
The thing which we will notice again and again is the city is empty.
Careful, Benji, please. I wanted to move out of this shit.
There's one entrance here and one entrance here. this particular courtyard was renamed Abustan Hasfaradi. The mulberry trees in here are actually part of that same bustan. And there was a fabulous educational project of printing on stone the history of the various families that lived in this particular environment.
Good.
They even bothered to have it simultaneously in Hebrew. So the house belonged to the family of Rabbi Binyamin Halevi, and you can see when, in actual fact, from 1880, the folks came out of the walls of the old city. First of all went to Yamin Moshe, named after Moses Montefiore.
Yeah.
And Montefiore, of course, is the name of the book that the historian who wrote
Simon
for you,
Sebag, yeah.
Simon Sebag Montefiore. And it's one of the most charming corners because it isn't flooded out yet with visitors who know or don't know about this particular project. Another one here, all around here. And when I have the time to take you properly in a place where we can go from place to place by car, we'll do a little tour around this area, which is called Itzraki Nachlaot.
Nachlaot.
Each one of these little streets was an individual neighborhood. What do we see in the old city? What we see here, and that is high walls, binyan efes. In other words, the street comes right up to the house. Okay, onwards. Go that way?
Let's do show the bustan, yes.
Want to go this way?
Yeah,
Isaac.
yes.
Basin. In the winter, there was no running water here. In the winter, people used to, quite simply, it's now been stoned over, but underneath here is a water system.
Over here, why here?
Here,
Why here?
because this is the place which is high enough to enable a little bit of water pressure from here to the houses. But basically, people came here with their buckets, dropped down the buckets, and pulled them back up again.
So like collection of rainwater?
Yes, it's a system. שנה טובה ליהודים טובים. לא, הוא לא עושה לי את היום. לא, אני נורא שמח שאני עושה לו. כן. ככה דרך אגב, פעם בשנה ותו לא. מזכרת משה. Who's the Moshe?
Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Montefiore. Moshe Montefiore is
What does Moshe mean?
Moses.
Moshe is the English, the Hebrew
Moses.
origin of Moses.
Okay, I didn't know. Somebody had to tell me that. That's how it's spelled.
That's how it's spelled. I see write it there. Don't,
Oh, sorry.
don't take too literally. Shana Tova Liudim.
בוקר טוב, בוקר טוב.
Oh,
The name of this quarter, אדם, אתה תוכל לפענח את זה, הרובע הזה נקרא מזכרת משה. Which is called Mizi Ahma.
how do you see
Jerusalem stone comes from 3 or 4 different quarries.
Yeah.
Each color of each kind of stone has a different name.
Okay.
This kind of red stone is called Mizi Ahmar.
Mr. Benji, how can we see it's an ancient stone, not a new stone? How do we see it?
Because it's highly polished and because the later kohal done here isn't done anymore. This was the way.
What is not done?
This is this kind of kohal. Kohal is the
okay.
Egyptian name for black.
Okay.
In traditional stonework, the filling in here was done with a dark mixture,
Okay.
like this.
Okay. Got it. English better than mine. Benji, what is this? The Samechtet stuff?
It's exactly what's written there, my friend.
These are my guys.
Agudat Bet HaKnesset.
So what is it in English?
David, take a picture and I'll tell you and blow it to you.
Yeah.
I'm telling you that everything is Kabbalah.
Kabbalah.
Everything is Kabbalah, what you call Kabbalah, okay? The name of the synagogue is Chesed and Rachamim. These are two of the spheres of the tree of life.
Okay.
Chesed is this.
Yeah.
Chesed is the symbol of Abraham. Rachamim is this. In other words, it's also on everybody, on the assumption that everybody and each soul on the planet
Yeah.
is actually a microcosm of the whole universe. This on the human body is Rachamim. This on the human body is Chesed,
What's the difference?
love. There's a difference. There's a huge difference. And you have to study Kabbalah all your life to understand what the difference is. And why you give somebody a right hand and not another hand. Okay? The left hand, for example, in Kabbalah is Chesed V'Din. It's the female side. The whole of the left side is a female side. And if you see Israelis or Jews with a red band around their arm, this is the sign of the blood, of the menstrual blood, which is red here.
Yeah.
And on this side is the white sperm loop. In other words, once again,
Okay.
the gentleman called Moses, who is the symbol of Chesed. I don't want to go too much into it, but remember. Okay? Could be a carpentry shop. What do you get?
Jews play pop. Could be somebody putting.
A property in this neighborhood, David, is an arm and a leg. And this is wild, wild creativity, making something out of nothing. There isn't even any soil left to put all these objects on. Up on the internet, but I've got the feeling that this comes from the province of Shiraz in Iran, in Persia.
Really?
I've got the feeling that the origin of the name Shirazli,
I like Shiraz.
I know perfectly well that the person who lives here can tell us what the origin of the name is.
Who lives here?
This gentleman.
You want to talk to him?
He's not a friend of mine, and I don't want to burst into his house in order to ask the name of the street.
That's very nice of you. Beautiful. It's beautiful, David. This is a really old
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Jerusalem, out of the first Jerusalem out of the wall.
Not the very first, exactly. The very first was Yamin Moshe.
Yeah, but one of the first out of the wall.
Absolutely.
Out of the
1880s.
1890.
1880s.
Yeah.
When the first Russian Jews came here, and when the first Yemenite Jews set out from Yemen to get here. 1880.
Excellent. Before the Aliyah Rishona even.
You don't know that I lit the candles for you on Friday?
No, I don't know.
You weren't aware of the fact that I...
Could you
Bro-
translate this label?
The thing on the top? The thing
Yes.
on the top is...
Save
Go on.
Save King David from the Vatican.
Good idea. The Vatican's a threat.
In other words, let the house of Israel, to be more precise, the royal house of King David of Israel, saved from Catholicism in the form of the Pope,
Or conversion.
who could actually afford to give us a day and a half and no more.
You know, somebody we know would love that.
But make sure you get the platter with the bread and the candles and the wine.
I've got everything.
Good.
Yes. Ooh, David, look at this. That's Israeli.
He's not Israeli.
Was Israeli?
No, it's Jerusalem.
Do
The cats in this city are of a different breed altogether.
you think they're Buddhist cats?
No.
No.
There is a very good reason, David, why Buddhism has never caught on in this part of the world. You know what it is? Because Buddhism believes essentially in suffering. It believes in life being a series of painful exercises which you have to learn how to live with.
To liberate from
And
the
with
opposite.
that, you have meditation and prayers and the 14th Dalai Lama.
Yeah.
I must tell you what happened when the Dalai Lama came to Israel.
That's pessimistic.
Do you mind?
Yeah, go
It's the
ahead.
opposite, Benji.
No, do you mind if I tell you what happened when
Not
the
at
Dalai
all.
Lama
Go
came
for
to
it.
Israel? Israel at the time when they wanted to invite the Dalai Lama, Israel at that stage was developing commercial ties with China so that the whole Israeli economy eventually would be an annex of the Chinese. So they couldn't officially invite him as the official guest of a people in exile because it would have offended the Chinese who were occupying Tibet.
Yeah.
So what they decided to do was that the host body would be the Society for the Protection of Nature in Israel, who would take him to Eilat, to the highest mountain in Eilat. And when they got there, it's called Har Shlomo, the mountain of Solomon. When they got there, he said, this wise man, if not the wisest of men, this wise man, he said, from here, I can see 4 countries. I see the Hashemite kingdom of Jordan. I see the kingdom of Ibn Saud. I see Egypt. And of course, we're standing in Israel. And then he said, I wonder how many countries God can see. Residences which have a different kind of filigree work for them. Okay, we go out from the Nachlaot, Yisraki, אנחנו יוצאים עכשיו מהנחלאות, Adam to the left.
You want me to donate to the guy?
2. He's Russian, of course, and he's learned a minimum of Hebrew tunes from 60, 70 years ago. I shouldn't ask you to do it, I should do it myself. Now I'll run out for you. Будь здоров. На здоровье. Хорошего работы. Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.
So you can help by saying in Russian, Shana Tova.
How do I
Novom Sgodom.
Novum?
Novom Sgodom.
Skodom. S Novim Godom.
S Novim Godom.
Snow. You have to say that.
Novom
Novim Godom.
Sgodom.
Godom. Adios. Thank you. Pleasure. From Manchester, England. England. Yeah. Anglia. Manchester.
United.
Manchester.
He's a football star.
הוא צועד. איפה שהוא גר במנצ'סטר, ממש באולטרה. נורמלי. אמר לך, אז למה הוא לא הזמין אותך לראות משחק שם? איזה רואים יהודי אחד? לא יבוא. משחק אני לא יבוא. גם אם ישלמו לי הטיסה. ומה אם ישלחו לך את הטיסה? וישלחו אותך לטיסה? כי... What do you say? Okay, my friends, we're coming back to the main drive, which is called Jaffa Street. And we're going now into arguably the most interesting street in Jerusalem. The street of the prophets. Street of the prophets.
Also take photo of you as well.
What is this?
With a Vitka.
It's a mortar.
It's
a mortar.
It's a David mortar. The Vitka. David mortar.
Okay.
After you.
Oh, no, I'm not into dirty. Sex and me don't go together.
Hey, Benji, you're a sex maniac.
Only in Jerusalem.
Only Jerusalem. That's the syndrome. That's the syndrome.
Right, okay.
You can believe they got
So this was in
47, 48.
48, right? This is a mortar from 48.
Adam, look, once I live in there.
I love Austin. So do I. No, just
אנחנו נצלם אותך עוצר אותו.
מה פתאום?
יש לך כזה אותו עוצר אותו? יש לי מצחוק?
זה אובייקט.
Yeah, it's a big country, isn't it? But where I come from is even bigger. Canada. It's big.
East or the west?
Well, the east, it's the east, it's Toronto, it's in the east, even though it shifts in the center, it's really in the east.
Central structure in Nabi Samuel has in it mosque, the roof of the mosque, and the minaret. Downstairs, the tomb of the Prophet, administered by the Waqf. And underneath that, on the ground floor, there's the yeshiva. In other words, it's the only place
For coexistence.
on the face of the planet where coexistence really means coexistence.
Yeah.
In other words, the respect for the sanctity of whatever it is there that people want to emphasize, including the fact that the tomb of the Prophet is not the tomb of the Prophet, but that really doesn't matter. Over 500, 1,000, 1,500 years, it's become so, and therefore it is. In my wildest dreams, I wanted to turn to Hussein when he was still alive, to refurbish the inside, with Valian ceramics in exactly the same way as Salam Sharif was by the family.
Some of the renovation, not the whole thing.
I would be more than happy just to take from you at the moment a calling card
Okay.
to show these gentlemen what Armenian ceramics really mean. The business, which has been here for umpteen years, and I'll take your card. And when the minute is right, in other words, when I start getting some response from all the different directions, including from the king, I have a way of communicating with him, not directly, but indirectly, and asking whether he would be in exactly the same way as his father donated, there's 90 kilos of gold for the cupola. I would be happy to take your calling card.
Okay. We'll do that. I wish you had told me before so that I could have
I couldn't in any way arrange my timetable
Yeah.
with these visitors from abroad beforehand.
Well, difficult customers.
They are very difficult customers.
Okay.
And they're also future investors.
Okay.
Your calling card.
Yeah. Mari Balian was my mother.
Is there any
The artist of the family.
You have a couple of minutes to show this gentleman.
Yes, she's the artist of the family.
Uh-huh.
At 90 years old, and she's still going strong.
What is your mother's name?
Marie.
Marie
Balian.
Very nice.
So you both paint and design all the...
Yeah, she designs.
Some of them.
Yes.
The most principal time that we are going outside, maybe in beauty, you design.
I'll show you her work now.
The director of the business today?
Yes.
Okay.
That's
I'm
also a movie, documentary.
This is David. And this is Isaac from
You
Serbia.
have to go to Koresh Street in not very far.
And this
from
is a
here.
young gentleman.
Making a documentary on the...
6 meters by
These are the pilots.
Yes.
So in course,
6 meters.
You have to go to Koresh Street to see what she's describing. You know, parallel to Jaffa, you know the process is
It's
describing.
about the massive...
And the massive ceramic
Massive
mural
garden.
that you see.
Yeah.
Okay? That's it.
Wait,
If they know it, they're going to go.
No. Tell the details. I wish these gentlemen also to learn how to navigate in the real Jerusalem.
It's 6 meters by 4 meters on tile. You can go there in Koresh.
we'll go and see it.
Let me show you
Outside.
quickly, since you introduced
Outside.
it nicely.
It's a very long process of making, it's a long process, making each
Wow.
time.
In tile.
Yeah, making each time.
Smithsonian, you've been there?
I know, I haven't been to
But you know this is only
But I know this is
Washington DC. All of these that you see over here. And they were also exhibited in Spain, in Alicante, Spain. We don't sell these, but I have a plan to make copies of these with the new system that we're getting.
Shouldn't be a major problem.
Digital
Shouldn't be a major
ceramic
problem.
printing. It's a major problem in getting the artwork ready for the for the
You mean
special
actual
printer.
the scanning of the image.
Exactly, the scanning
of
to
the
get the
surroundings.
artwork ready.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's the biggest work. That's
It's very large.
yes. That's the family museum over here.
Go. الناس قاعدة محرومات.
Okay, these are most of the pieces that you see over here are since pre-1948.
Could you give us a word or two, briefly, about how the family, under which circumstances they were invited?
I'll
to
give you the
Palestine?
story in 2 minutes of the Armenian ceramics. Armenian ceramics 101. Three families, Ohannessian, Balian and Karakashian, were brought in 1919 by the British Mandate authorities. Sir Ronald Storrs, the first governor of Jerusalem, and Mark Sachs of the Sykes-Picot Agreement.
They were actually responsible for locating the families and bringing
Yes,
them?
because Mark Sachs was in contact with Ohannessian, one of the families, pre-1919.
Were there any kind of preconditions made to the family when they left Armenia?
No, they didn't leave Armenia. Actually, they were brought over from Kütahya, Turkey, which was the center of the ceramics industry then, of this type of pottery. 1919, Kütahya was still under Greek rule. Not Ottoman, Greek rule. So we still hadn't seen the genocide in that aspect. But 1920, then the Turks came and the genocide started.
In other words, these four families and the
Three families.
representative three families,
Yes.
they actually were here before the massacre.
Yes, before.
It was
Well,
stayed-
during the massacre in the other parts of Turkey, but Kütahya didn't see the massacre or the displacement of Armenians since until 1920. Okay, so 1919 we're still safe under the Greek rule. So when they said they came to renovate the tiles of the Dome of the Rock and also to introduce the arts and crafts movement from the pottery side to Jerusalem to increase tourism and so on.
But the knowledge and the traditional designs remained within the families,
Yes.
using local ladies who were trained?
Yes, I mean, they came 1919, they set up a small studio by the Domers. When that full partnership was not achieved, Balian and Karakashian left Ohanessian in the Dome of the Rock Towers and Via del Rosa and came over here and established the Palestinian pottery, as you see, the same location, the same place, and even lived in the
never been inside this private museum.
even in the same premises, they used to live over here. It was a house and then the studio.
And your family is located in the old city?
Yes, 64, let me briefly go through the history. 64, Caracas, when my grandfather and their father passed away, the two partners, the Caracasian family went to the old city, 64, and established the Jerusalem pottery, while we remained, the Balian family remained over here since
with the name of
Palestinian, but we didn't change when the Jordanians came to Jordanian pottery, when the Israelis came to Israel. So the name is Palestinian pottery, but we're known throughout the world as more as the Armenian ceramics or pottery of Jerusalem.
I look forward to doing business of a very serious nature.
Okay.
What's the difference between the old pieces, 348, and the new one? Is it a different style?
The main difference is that they had more time to concentrate on the designs. That's it, you'll see more finer work. But if I have to go back to the same quality in terms of the designs, then I would be out of business. Because there is a limited number of pieces that you can sell for $1,000, rather for a similar system for 100, 200 shekels. So sometimes you have to compromise to survive. You know, although we're proud that we're still keeping the tradition with a very high quality or artistic and technical quality. It's basically the technique of ceramics hasn't changed. Decoration techniques, they have changed slowly. That's why I mentioned the inkjet ceramic printing, new developments in the world, you know, stuff like that.
And all the families are artists? All of you are artists? Or
no, not really. I am an artist, and I'm a ceramic and mechanical engineer. An artist also. My mother is the artist of the family.
So impressive.
You know, and we have diggers, and the boys have been with us for years. It's a lot of training and skill involved.
So how many are you?
All about 7, 8, not more. It's a small family business.
Naturally enough, in the past months, business has gone down to zero.
Not really. Business has gone to zero because of the tourism, maybe. We never concentrated on the tourism because you have guides coming with tour buses and asking for a 30-40% commission, which we're not set up to do these things. So we don't work with the... We don't work with
those who are licensed by the Israeli Ministry of Tourism?
Anybody that you want.
They crack a deal on
They crack a deal of 30-40%, you know. And then that's not enough. The driver of the bus comes over and he wants another 10-20% commission also. So basically, the souvenir shops that people are taken to, the price is hiked up ×5, ×6, so that they can give the commissions and so on left and right and make some money, you know.
So what is your...
Our strength is in the local people, the connoisseur type of people, Israelis, Palestinians, and also NGOs, consulates, and also projects, tile projects. We concentrate on tile projects, sending to Qatar, to Dubai, you know, to Jordan. We have a studio in Jordan also.
All around the Middle East.
Yes. It's and also the internet.
In business terms, it's quite wise to say the Palestinian portrait.
You have to, yeah. Well, if you're going to go to the Qatar and Dubai and so on, then
they know who they're
you are pushed as the Palestinian pottery, you know.
They know they're coming to the Armenian Jerusalem family.
Yes, they know that, you know, they know that. But you have to diversify, you know. When the Intifada started, you know, it was a good thing that I concentrated on our internet presence on the website. So we survived through the website, you know, using...
Is that wise?
You know. So is it easy to actually to send it, to dispatch it via the internet, to just pack it?
No, you have a nice website, or ceramic tiles and so on, and then we send it by EMS, Israeli Post, all over the world, you know, that's the idea. And then you get contacts, you get large projects. The trick is not to spend $1 million on the website itself, The trick is to get the keywords right, and when somebody is hitting on Google and you're checking hand-painted tiles, that you're on the first page on the number 1 or 2.
Exactly.
Because if you're not on the first 3 pages of Google, forget it. You're losing 90% of the clientele. You know, that's the trick over here.
This is amazing. This is priceless.
Yeah, that's a nativity scene over here.
And this was made when?
Pre-1948. This is a piece from the, these are pieces that I collect basically through internet and so on. This is the Palestine Police, 1948. As you can see, the piece is signed Palestine underneath with K and B in Armenian, Balyan and Karakashian, when it was the dual workshop over here. You know, you have these pieces. This is an example of a piece that I was in Lille with my family in France. And there is what is called the Braderie de Lille. It's a famous where all the antiques, they come down, they close all the roads.
In Paris? In Lyon?
In Lille.
In Lille.
Northern France, where my children study. So I found these 2 pieces, and they came out to be from an exhibition, the international exhibition, the Expo, in 1931, in the Palestine Pavilion, with both the Hebrew, English, and Arabic.
Now, Sean, may I ask?
Yes.
If it's not an indiscreet question,
Yeah.
what are your children studying that can be for the continuance of the
Nothing. I haven't pushed them in this direction. I want them to decide on their own. They are excited. My son, who graduated from one of the best universities in chemistry, in masters just this year. It can be, but this is more artistic. It's not.
So you don't force him into the business?
No, he's not sure what he wants. He said he wants to come. I tell him, first go and do some work on your own, and then come to your father's place. You know, to see what life is about.
What kind of provisions in the long term have you taken to ensure the continuation of the business?
I have 3 children, a daughter and 2 sons. There's no guarantee in life. I might go another 20 years. I might drop off over here dead in 5 minutes. You know, that's so. There are no guarantees, but they are clever children. So
you want to start what maktub is?
The what?
Maktub.
Maktub. What is written?
No. What is written?
Yes.
What is written is written.
Exactly.
What is maktub?
So I cannot plan. You can plan relatively. It's all relative, you know. You can plan, you do a few plans, but you never know how your cards are given to you, you know, in life. So,
have you been to Armenia yourself?
Yes.
And if you compare the pottery...
There's nothing like this in Armenia.
So it's very
this is an identity of Jerusalem. It's when they say the Armenian or Palestinian pottery of Jerusalem, it's an identity of the Balyan Karakashian families. Especially after 64, my mother's influence, because until 64, when they were partners together, my mother was not allowed to work over here. The Balyans and Karakashians had an agreement that the Balyan was responsible for the throwing on the wheel, the ceramics, the firing, the technical side, and the Karakashian was responsible for the design work. So my mother couldn't even pick up a brush because of the agreement. And she was dying because she was from the Beaux-Arts de Lyon and all that background and so on.
Is that what she was talking about in Lyon?
Yes.
Where she studied?
Yes, exactly. So she was trained as an artist and so on. So, but 64, it all exploded. That's why
David, excuse me, are you familiar with the phrase Beaux-Arts?
No.
Beaux-Arts is anything artistic and architectural. There are institutes of Beaux-Arts.
All over France.
Beautiful art.
Okay.
So beautiful.
So that's ceramics 101 in.
This is too
I was saying it's my mother's and father's influence because my father was a master potter also. He studied with Bernard Leach in England in the late 40s, you know. So it's because of the two combination of technical mastery and artistic mastery that I feel we were propelled, the Balyan family, more than any other. And I do not deny that, and I'll be modest about it. It's because of the Balyan family that the term Armenian ceramics was,
I still ask you, if, as we understood, the influx of Armenian Christians,
yes,
who have not something to do with the Armenian convent,
yes,
or the Church of the Holy Sepulchre,
yes,
nothing to do with this, the very same community,
Yes.
which is inside the Armenian Quarter, would not have been there today were it not for these three families who were the forerunners.
No, I would not be that, I mean, there were a lot of other Armenians who were very good in their own crafts, in their own right, in crafts and like shoemakers, goldsmiths, and so on. I think Armenian ceramics is a small part of it, but it has given a rich identity to the Armenian
I've never
community.
been able to understand what exactly was the trigger for leaving Armenia and coming and settling as part of the community.
People did not leave Armenia. People left Turkey. The Armenian community in Jerusalem is composed of two people. What are called the locals, who were here since the 7th century, who've been here for that many years. And then the newcomers, which came, 90% which came from Turkey because of genocide and all of that. There are no Armenians who came from Armenia. Actually, in the late 40s, a lot of Armenians from here went to Armenia because of Stalin's plan to give Armenia to Georgia, because he was of Georgian origin. He wanted to be, because there was 1 million Armenians in Armenia at that time. Okay. He wanted to unite Armenia with Georgia. So there was a huge influx from all over the world of Armenians going back to Armenia. But most of them were sent to Siberian gulags and a lot of the educated people.
May I ask about the filming rights? In your website, Ashan,
yes.
Do you have clips of this?
No, pictures, yes. I have old family pictures and so on. But send me an email, give me more detail of what you're planning to do and so on, and I'll send copies of exactly, and then we will, I'll send you the old pictures and so on. Okay?
It'll be my pleasure. Okay.
Okay?
It's so beautiful.
David, is there anything you wanted to ask Ashan?
No.
Okay.
Mari Balian.
Mari Balian. I am Mari Balian. Yes.
And what do you think of Jerusalem?
What I am doing, I am designing, working here in the pottery and doing a very, very big work. You can go to Koresh Street to see my panel on tile, yes, on tile, yes, freehand, yeah.
Okay, that's where we're going to go. But the city of Jerusalem, you've lived here most of your adult life.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Do you ever go back to France and visit?
Yes, yeah. I go time to time, because I am old now, but I stay more here now than traveling, yeah. I go to the States because my daughter, she's there in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
And I did something there also, in the Smithsonian Museum.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah.
It's a big museum there.
Yeah, in the museum, yeah. In the museum.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
You're welcome anytime.
Yeah, I noticed that. What was it like last year? Same? Or more?
In a land under the British law, where we are right now, and
Her Majesty.
I've come home.
I'm going to take you inside there to see the origin of the church, the cross at the top.
Oh, yeah?
This is a perfect cloister.
Did
you catch it?
Yeah, no, I've got it.
Can sit here?
No, the next place. So
Okay.
it's okay. This I'm showing you number one, and number two to emphasize this business of whenever an imperial power, a European imperial power, wanted to have a foothold in the Holy Land, then it was in Jerusalem. And in Jerusalem they would set up Tzchaki. Can I trouble you?
So where's this cross?
Yes. So you sit next to
Selam aleyküm.
You know, this shows the face, okay? Sorry? It's really fast. Maybe he asked not to film it.
Really?
Yes, so let's stop.
Okay.